Nearly every person of every age and every community in Scotland participates in culture. Culture includes everything from going to the cinema, to playing in a band, to going to a museum, to taking a dance class, to reading a library book. We might do it at school or in a community hall or at the theatre. And each of these activities has an impact on our climate. Think about the resources they involve, the materials they use, where the food that serves come from, the energy used to heat the venue. Did that band fly between cities on their tour? What's the carbon footprint of that new blockbuster film? Culture, like everything, has a carbon cost, but it isn't all bad. Culture also has the power to influence. When we read a book, sing in a choir, or join a crowd, our thoughts, attitudes, values, and behaviours are all affected in some way. Our view of the world changes. And because many cultural events involve people doing things together, culture can change us not only as individuals, but as a community, as a society.
This means that culture can directly and positively influence the ways we tackle the climate emergency. Creative practitioners can create work which addresses the challenges we all face. Do you remember that film Wall-E, in which the little robot was left on an uninhabitable Earth, clearing up the rubbish? Closer to home, string orchestra Scottish Ensemble has commissioned and performed new music which explores transformation and change, including in the Scottish climate. Shows, exhibitions, and music like this can get us all thinking and talking about what we can do and how we can do it effectively and fairly within our communities. It's not only about showing work about climate change and green issues. It's also about leading by example, by being greener when creating that work, or when running a venue, or when touring a band to the Outer Hebrides rather than to America. And then, importantly, it's about telling audiences and participants about what we're doing and asking them to help.
Creative Scotland, the arts funding body, asks every cultural organisation to which it gives financial support to report their annual carbon emissions and to create a plan to reduce their carbon footprint. This not only gives artists and organisations a reason to think about reducing their climate impact, but crucially it gives them permission to do so. Permission to spend time, effort and money on working their way towards net zero, at the same time as concentrating on their core business. Perhaps this should be part of all grants from local government or other bodies, and perhaps promoting the sustainability work could be a funding requirement. As examples, we've seen many venues make significant emissions reductions by changing lighting and heating systems and by researching how to best manage the specialist equipment needed for craft and sculpture. Of course, not all changes can be made easily or affordably, especially if a building is old or if the individuals involved aren't willing. Would some incentives be useful to reinforce the idea that culture is allowed to focus on climate change? Could their audiences and communities encourage them to do so? Can government help?
Even organisations that don't run buildings, such as community arts charities or touring dance companies, can still drive fair, positive change. We've seen these organisations working together to make changes that go beyond their own footprint. For example, the Circular Arts Network allows arts and craft organisations to swap and share materials, like a specialist gum tree. Also, the Federation of Scottish Theatre is working on a strategy to get the whole Scottish theatre sector to net zero. Is this something that community arts groups, youth theatre, and local dance and art classes could learn from?
Another way culture can help tackle the climate emergency is through non-cultural projects. Creative Carbon Scotland is collaborating in Greater Glasgow with artists and local councils on projects about adapting to the challenges communities there face from the increased risk of flooding and severe weather events like the Beast from the East, events that place stresses on health, emergency and housing services. Some artists, regardless of their field, are good at helping other people, like professionals, think differently, unlocking their creativity and helping them come up with better solutions. Some are also good at enabling all members of a community to be involved or have a say in how we can tackle the climate emergency together. And a final thought is that cultural spaces provide an opportunity for communities to think together about challenging problems. When we come together with other people to watch a play, listen to a concert or view an exhibition, our brains somehow, almost magically, become interlinked. We have a different experience to when we do the same activity on our own. The whole is then greater than the sum of the parts. We think collectively, faster and better. And because we've all been involved, we understand the challenges and decisions made. It is this sort of fast, joined-up thinking that is essential to tackle a complex challenge like climate change, and cultural venues can become the hubs where this takes place.